the potentiality of Archicad. Well, I already have a build model, and I will try to show you how it was built. I will try to present some of the main toolbars and palettes from Archicad. I will use the toolbox where I can select the tools that I'm working with. Each of these tools have some definitions, some parameters that I can predefine. For example, every time I try to use a wall, I can say which geometry, which height, which elevation I would like to draw it or to model it, which 2D representation for floor plan or for section, which 3D representation for in materials. So this is the definitions you are seeing here, okay, in the 3D window, and in which layer I would like to put my tool, my element, and then some more detailed parameters that I will try to explain you later in the presentation. So as you can see here in the 3D window, I can show you all the elements that I model with this tool. I will press the Control A and it shows me all the walls in this model. They are highlighted as as green. I can show you all these elements were made with this tool. I also use some slabs for the horizontal elements. Slabs have different definitions, the thickness, but also the 2D representation and the 3D representation. All the main tools are structured by these definitions. Also have the layer, okay, and I can show you and highlighted all the elements that I used with this tool. And some other tools. I also use roofs for the slanted elements, mainly the roof and the ramp for the garage access. I also use the terrain for the modeling of this terrain. This terrain could be modeled by inserting point by point, or if I have the information, I could just place a mesh by the surveyor's data. I can have a TXT file with the coordinates of the points surveyed, and then I can just import it, an automatic mesh to my model. Just I can do it by going on plan and just place a TXT file that has this kind of structure by the coordinates of X, Y, and Z for the points, and then he automatically gives me a modeled mesh. More tools. I also used objects for the furniture, basically. And some doors and windows, and windows, which are objects, so special objects that are placed on walls. So when I select them, they also select the walls they are inserted in. these objects are a little more, they have a little more customization. So I can set, these are in Portuguese, but basically I can set the door frame and the door panel and the wall enclosure for the walls and for the doors and windows. So everything can be set in here on the settings dialog for my elements. Okay, but now you are seeing a completed model, and you can see that I'm navigating through my model using my navigator. So here you can see how many stories I have. You can see that my model is structured by stories. I can jump from one story to the other by just double-clicking on my my point of view, and then you can see the story settings. This is how I've structured my the construction of my model. Basically, I set the elevation and the difference to the next level, so I can work with my tools, putting some elements on different levels, okay, and different stories. Later, these stories will be the plans that I will present. Then I can just use some other tools to, as you can see here, to input some 2D elements, also to give more information to my points of view. For example, the dimensions, I can just put some dimensions to input some more data in my points of view, in my drawings. I can also input some 2D elements and texts, fills and lines. But what I want to show you is that I can draw some new points of view. Here you can see that I already have some three sections. These three sections, I already draw them here. You can see them on the floor plan, and I can just access them, and you can see the model being presented on these different sections. What I want to show you is that I can create some new sections. I just need to draw them and project them to where I want to show my model. Just draw the section line and I just click to the side where I want to present them. I already have another point of view, and you can see now that I have a new section. Since I already have the model built, it's easy for me to have several new points of view. Sections, elevations, for example. You can see that I can define materials or just put them as with the shadows, the protected shadows from sun. You can see that I have different model view options for the sections and for the elevations. This is how everything is customized. I just need to go to the settings of my elevations and say how I want to see my model with the different presentation, with different pens, different fills for the cutted elements or the uncutted elements, which are the protected elements, and which sun and shadows definitions I want for each elevation. Okay. So if as I was telling you, I'm showing you already built model, but if I want to see how I could build something, I just need to use some of main tools in Archicad. I just could get the definitions I want from walls, or I could just high drop the definitions of previous model element, for example these walls, and select which construction method I want. I could also have some guidelines for have some elements, and I could just give some dimensions to my elements, and then just have new elements. Just building some internal walls, and you can see that all the transitions are being all the junctions and intersections are being cleaned. And if I want to use some door, I just eyedrop them. Basically, just click to absorb the definitions, and I start drawing with the same definitions. If I drop an object, I can also input a new object. All the addition I can do by moving or rotating. I can do it with the path palette. Basically, this is the modeling auxiliary that I have for editing my elements on the fly, basically, on real time. I can see what I am doing, basically just choosing different commands. Okay? So basically, using walls, slabs, objects, for example, if I want to put a slab, I just could model it below my walls, or I could, if I have some different shape, just for example, I just could pick my tool and outline the polygon with a magic wand. This means that I will outline already modeled polygon as my my walls contour, and click building a slab with that polygon. Okay, this means that I can now have, I will try to show this on 3D, and you can see that now I have the slab, the walls, the objects, and the door model in 3D. Basically just using the same definitions that I use with the already built model. Okay? But now I will delete this. Okay, I will try not to select anything else. Okay. Also with the model, I've built, I've used a tool that gives me some kind of notation for the rooms, and to this tool we call it the zone tool. The zone tool, or with the zone tool, I model basically the different rooms and the different spaces for the interaction of the where I can ID the room and have some area feedback or perimeter feedback for a certain room. And you can see this zone tool on 3D. I can show it also on 3D. Easily you can give different materials to different zones and have some 3D organigram for the project, but here the function is not only that, but I can also have some. I'll show all the model again. Okay, but here what I want to show you is that I can use that information and listed it. So another point, what I'm building here is not only a 3D model, but it's an information model. That's what means the BIM the BIM word. Okay, the BIM concept. Not only building a 3D model or the 3D geometry, but building an information model. So besides all the drawings that I can extract from my model, I can also extract some more information. For example, some room lists. Here, what I'm listing is the zone tool. Basically, I can give some settings and say that I only want to list the elements built with the zone tool, and I can create some fields so that I can have my list properly organized. And then this list, we call it interactive schedules. This means that I can edit the ID for a certain zone, and it will be updated on the model, and the other way around. I can update it on the model, and it will I can change it in the model, and it will update it me on the on the schedule. So, for example, I already translated some zones in the garage story. I can also change it here. I think it's here, how it's spelled in English. And you can see that when I highlight a certain zone, I can see it on floor plan or on 3D. I will choose to select it on floor plan, and you will see that that certain zone was updated on the floor plan. And you can see that all the other zones were also updated on the floor plan. Because what we are seeing is only one model that is being shown on different points of view. If you see this wall on this floor plan, this wall will be, I can select it, this wall will be that wall on the section. So we are always seeing the same elements that we can edit on different points of view. As we can make a list for rooms or for zones, I can also make a list for windows and doors, for openings. In this case, I'm only showing you windows, but I could also select on my criteria and add some new criteria. I can say that I would like to also list some doors, and in this way I can have a complete list for all my openings, and this works the same way. So if I try to change the ID of a certain element on the interactive schedule, it will be updated on the model, and of course the other way around. Okay, and I can have certain that this wall that this window that I'm changing, it's that window on the on the floor plan, or I can show you. I can select them on the 3D also, and you can see that those two windows are these ones. Okay. Then I can just make some more more detailed drawings. For example, I can just create an automatic dimensioning. I can select which walls I want to dimension. I will leave this external and I will just dimension these ones, and I will have an automatic dimension for the exterior. I will dimension my openings, okay, and I will place dimensions on the 4 sides, and I will try to put all my dimensions regarding that these dimensions are associative and dynamic. So if I change an element, the corresponding dimension will follow it. And now I will try to talk about other kinds of information. I already have modeled on the, I could imported it, but I've modeled also the structure. And here you can see that the structural part of my model, and I will just put it in wireframe everything that regards to the architecture elements. And if I show the architecture with the structure, you can see that I have a conflict. And this conflict will appear in every drawings, for example, in all the elevations and sections, and the floor plans, of course. Here, you can see that if I try to edit this element on the elevation, you see that here I have my column, and here I have my window. I can change it here, and you will see this change updated in every point of view. And since I've added my window, you can see that the dimension follow the window, and you can see that in the window list I now have two different windows with different with different dimensions, okay, with different width. One is one has 140 and the other one has 160. And if I change the ID, for example, this now should be the external opening 2. I can choose to show it on the floor plan, and it already changes the ID on the floor plan. So it's very easy to make changes on the project, because we have the control of all elements through the based on the model. Now what I want to do is to put this information. You can see that when I'm building some elements, I can trace and reference other points of view. For example, here what we are seeing is that I'm building on first floor, and I'm seeing the garage below, and you can see that I can edit the transparency from one story to the other. I can pass it above and below, and I can use the slider to understand which belongs to which floor. Okay. After this, building my model and putting some more information, some more 2D information, I can just create my documentation. For example, I'm going to my next environment. And I can create create the documentation I want to present on my, or I want to print on my layout book. So I can just select which folder I want to create, which folder I want to input my documentation. For example, I would like to select all my stories and save them in a graphical scale as 1:50, and I would like to save them only with the architectural information. Okay. I will clone it. Okay, and I will call it stories. Call it arc. But I can also clone the same stories at a different scale, for example, and I can save it only the structure layers. Okay, and I will call it structure. So when I want to access my my garage, I can see it with these definitions, with the architectural definitions, and I can see it with the structural definitions, and it already managed the different layers. It's just showing me the slabs and the pillars and the grid, the structural grid that I put it, and I can show it on the 3D. So it's very easy to change the documentation I want to present with my quick options and saving my documentation. I already saved some documentation. For example, this structural model, I could import it, as I will show you in a couple of minutes. I could import it from another consultant, another external consultant, and I could compare the information I've imported with the information I already have on my file. And for example, I already saved a 3D document in which I'm showing you a perspective section of my model. This is a very easy thing to create. You just need to select an area with my marquee, and I show this information on 3D. Okay, and after this I can just create a 3D document. This is how I build it, and this is 3D document. I duplicated and I created the same 3D document with only the structural layers, and what I can do is just use the other as a reference, and I can see that I can make the same commands as I've done it on the trace and reference with the different stories. And it's very easy for me to compare the information between different views. Okay, I could create floor plans, sections, cross sections, or an elevation. I could compare the information with different layers on this with this method. Okay, the next step is that I would like to put my information on a layout, and you can see that it's easy as this. After I've saved my documentation, which already saves the scale and layers and some other definitions, okay, I just have to drag my views and place it on a layout. Okay, this is my first floor. Okay, of course, I can also drag floor above. Okay, you can see different documentation here. The garage floor, the first floor, I could align it. Just need to pick the right point and put it on the correct position. Okay. If I drag a structural saved view at another scale with different layers, okay, the information will be different. Okay, this is the same plant as this one, but here I have it at a different scale and different layers. Okay, if I have to make some change, the change will be done on the model, and it will be and it would have repercussion on the different views and in the different drawings on the layouts. This should be the workflow, the BIM workflow inside of Archicad. Okay. What I want to show you, what I also want to show you is that we can have a workflow to work with different consultants, with different other softwares. Okay, and in that case I can use a format. I will open it, the 3D with everything shown. Okay, and we have a format that allows us to export information, the 3D information and the building information to other softwares, and to that format we call it IFC. Okay, this IFC allows me to communicate with different softwares and to input some more information to my elements. I've talked to you about the definitions on in this case for the window, and you can see that I can also on this wall, sorry, and you can see that I can set some structural function to my elements, some position, and some element classification. These are universal classification for elements, which means that when I export my model as an IFC model or IFC file, all the other elements that imported it or that can open it will have access to this information. And also I can have some renovation classification, but I'm not using this in this project. It will take us a little bit more time on the presentation. I can also have some more IFC properties. Here you can see that I can input to my elements some more properties, some more IFC properties. Regarding the fire rating properties, manufacturer properties, these are the standard properties, and then I can create my own properties. Imagine that I have to, in a special project, I have a special property to communicate to a special consultant. I can create those properties, and when I export my IFC model, that consultant will have access to these properties. And after this, I can select which information I want to export. In this case, I will export my I will export 3 files. I will export my architecture without the structure. Imagine for a consultant that would work with me on the structural project, and I just have to save it, make a save as. I will select the format. I'm exporting using only the visible elements. It's the simplest way. What you see is what you get. And I can choose the translator. We have some already predefined translators to work with several known softwares in the market. I will just use the general one. I can filter the elements. I can filter by structural function or IFC properties by stories. I'm just not making any filter. I'm just using the layer filter. Okay. I will save it. I will choose to save my arc model. I already saved the other IFCs. I will show you how. Already saved. I've saved also the structural without the terrain, only with the slabs. And what I would have to do will be save as and select the structural save. I will overwrite. And then I also saved the the map model. Here I didn't talk about this because it was short on time, but I can also use some tools to create the different systems on a project, and I've used the map tools. This is a plugin that can work inside Archicad to build the map systems. In this way, I just modeled the insufflation and the extraction system on my model. You can also use it in a different layer. You can see that I've chosen to show all the architecture as wireframe to model my map map elements, and I've exported. Okay, and to export it, I just make a save as, and I've saved as a AVAC. Okay, this is our name for map for mechanical. Okay, and I've saved it. I've turned all the layers on now. You can see that now I have all the information on my model, and I'm going to do another thing. I will open my IFCs for you, for that you can see. I can open it on. I can open them on. On a different software on a viewer that we use. It's the Solibri model viewer, and here I can use, for example, to open the structural IFC. And you can have access to the information as well as the layer, the material that I use, the section fill quantities, and some more properties classification if I had IFC properties. Okay, all the properties that you input it on the model, you will have access in this in this model. So it's a very easy way for you to check what you have exported, and you also can also see the AVAC, the same thing. Okay, I've just exported the geometry, and you can see that since I've exported them from the same model, I will use Archicad to open them. So I can use Archicad to open these IFC models, as I can open IFC model sent from other softwares from other consultants. And imagine that you wanted to open these models to compare them with our architectural model. So I'll try to open, and I will open launching a new instance of Archicad, and I will open the structural IFC that I saved in a minute. Open. And one of the things that you will see that most of these tools, since they have been exported from Archicad to IFC and then now they were open, you can see that they are pretty much the same tools. You can see here that this is a grid element, this is a slab, this is a roof. Okay, these are the same tools that I was working on the Archicad before. So even between different softwares, we are talking using the same tools, which I can select and interact and change the elements. In this case, they have the layer lock, but it's just a question of unlocking these layers, and I can change the representation of these elements. And I can also, for example, merge. To do that, I need to be on the floor plan. I can merge other IFC files to compile information for different consultants. I'm merging this information. In this case, I'm merging on a different file. I could be doing this on the file I was working, but I will be duplicating the information. But basically here you can see the same information being grouped and merged on a different file. Okay. Since I have the same origin from the IFC, I didn't need to create a special point to input them. They have the same origin, so they automatically goes to the same position, as well as the definition of story level. So I don't need to be worried about that. Okay, I can also detect IFC changes. Imagine that you have a consultant that sends you two versions of IFC. I can compare those two IFCs and import only the differences, the changes, okay? And I can merge the information from my model into already created IFC. Imagine that you have created one first version of an IFC model, and you want to upgrade it or update it with some more of your work, and then you can change which work you want to update to that IFC model. So the IFC models are not static, so you can update them and import them and merge them to have a proper exchange of information, not by drawings, but using 3D information models. Okay. To finish my presentation, I would like to show another way to exchange a model using a visualization tool that we have, that is the BIM X. I will use it to export the model as we have it here to the BIM X. It will search for the license, okay, and I will export it. I will launch the BIMX. The BIMX is basically an explorer for BIM models, and here you just can explore the model that I've created. Okay. This is not only an explorer, but you will see that it will allow us to also question our model. And of course I can save it, I can export it for executable file on Windows or application on Mac OS, and I can save it as a BIMX file for iPads and iPhones and tablets. I can also share it on the web, on the community, for make the upload and download on those equipments. I can use layers for turn on and off some of the elements that I've built. For example, it's a very easy way for us to question our model. I can also pick on the elements and have some information about those elements, to which layer they belong, ID, and etc. I can ask for a map, and I can just choose to make a rendered 3D model with a global illumination feature. Basically, these are the main features of this BIMX software. An important thing to say is that the files that I export, they don't need any license to be opened. They are executable files on Windows and DMG files on Mac OS, so they are they can automatically run on those operating systems. So it's a very easy way to interact with the model and ask the model and see what we have done on 3D. So I will quit, close, I return to my Archicad, and I think I've fulfilled my time, so I will I'm available for answering your questions.
Okay, Ricardo.
Yes.
So I think you finished your presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and the experience to show the software. I have here a few questions that I will I will ask them and ask for your answer. A couple of questions are not related to the software, but I think they are relevant, so I'm going to ask them. So an attendee asked if there is any speaker on the BIM conference that will present a study using Archicad. I can answer that. In the conference there will be two presentations that will touch the use of the software Archicad. One from the construction company Mote Angel, and the other from Mr. Tomo Iko from the company Niken in Japan. Another question that I have is also related to the conference. How can I register at the conference? So like I said in the beginning, you should go to the website www.bimforum.com.pt, and then you'll have on the left a blue icon with the words register now, and then it's just to follow the instructions. I have two questions here for Ricardo. So the first one is, you showed a list with all the windows and doors, and then you were able to highlight what you wanted and show in 2D or 3D. The question is it possible to create that list just selecting an element in the 2D or the 3D window and show it on the list? Ricardo?
Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Yes. I'm not sure if I understand the question.
So I think the question. One moment. I think the question is, you showed the list, and then you selected a particular window, and then you could see that window in the 2D view or the 3D view. I think the question is, can you be on the 2D view window and just select a random window and only see that window on a particular list?
Okay. Select it on the model and see it. Which list is that on? Or which element is that on the list?
I think so.
Yeah. No. The way you can interact with elements. I'm not sure if I'm.
So I think the question is, you have on that model maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 windows, and that list showed all the 5, 6, 7 windows. Is it possible just to show that door that you are now selecting?
Yeah, you can. You have some workaround. Basically, you can change the ID, and then you can just ask for the list to show that particular ID. I'm not sure if you are following it, but basically, since you have filters, basically it's this thing. When I'm on the list, it automatically gives you the order by the IDs. Basically, if you want to see this one, I have to know which ID I have. For example, I changed the ID, and I would know that on the list it will be the number 7, this one. Okay. It's not possible to directly from the model highlight on the list, but you can filter. If you want to filter, you can have another and you can see. So in this case, it's an easy thing to do. Just filter the ID, and then you can have a list with only that element, and you have sure that that particular window is that one. So
okay.
Work around.
Okay. I have just another question. Just Ricardo, this is giving echo. I don't know if you have your sound.
I put it on. Okay. It's better now?
Yes, it's better.
Yeah, it should be a feedback because I was putting on speaker. Sorry.
Okay. Another question is, the MEP tools plugin. Does this MEP plugin comes with Archicad, or is it an extra for the software?
It's an extra license, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if anyone else has any other question. If you have, you can just write it and we can then answer it by email. For now, this is all. And I want to again thank you, Ricardo, for his presentation. And thank you everyone for being here. Yes, Ricardo?
We are the one who are thankful, so we can show our our product. So
okay, and I want also to remind everyone for the international conference in June in Porto, and I hope to see a lot of you here today in the future with us. So I think I'm going to end this meeting, and thank you and bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye, Edgar.